I went ahead and started the recording.
Okay. Hello, parents. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Michelle Fitzgerald, and I'm the Director of College Counseling. We're just going to give a few minutes for those that are still joining us, whether it's via online or in person. So looking forward to talking to all of you about the college trip that we have planned for your students. And hopefully it will be a good fit for you. So hold tight. We should get started in a few minutes. We're just going to let a few that are coming to campus get in, and then also those that are logging in. For those of you that are joining us by Zoom, please feel free to put any questions in the chat throughout the presentation, and we'll have a question and answer session at the end to go over questions. So if you can't hear anything, you're welcome to send me a little message, but I'm hopeful that you all can hear and that you can see the presentation that is on the screen.
It's like, did you go to did I get you on you probably did see me around. When we did I'm a bit confused. Oh yeah, that's not it. I have to do. Hi, welcome. You just sign in. Yeah, sign in. You can put your name in, your child's name.
Are we supposed to bring our child?
No.
Oh,
I mean,
goodness.
yeah,
I
I
know,
know,
but
but
I
yeah.
don't know. Do you want to go?
No, I'm sure she's interested. Yeah, absolutely. We're on Zoom as well, so this is Michelle Fitzgerald. She's the director of the network college counseling, and so she's going to be paying attention to that side and also presenting.
For those of you that just joined us on line via Zoom, we will be starting in just a few minutes. We're just waiting for a few of our families to get into the building and make it to the classroom in which we have for our in-person family. So thank you all for attending.
Michelle, I'm going to go ahead and mute myself, or is that okay?
I think if we're putting, I think you might be okay. Let's see if you can still hear me if you mute. Can you still hear me? Okay, great. So we're all good. Miss Masters, we won't be able to hear you though, just so you know.
Correct. I will make sure that when I am speaking to everyone, I unmute myself.
And you'll just give me the thumbs up when we're ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Thank you to those that have come to Great Hearts Western Hills for our presentation and those that are joining us online. My name is Michelle Fitzgerald, and I'm the Director of College Counseling for Texas, for Great Hearts, Texas. And it's just a thrill and an honor for me to be with you to talk about something that we're launching this year, and that's a Great Hearts, Texas college trip with all of our sister academies in the San Antonio area. We've been intentional and wanted to invite our 9th graders to this trip. It is on March 31st to April 1st next year. And we're going to go through a few of the items that you need to be aware of to make a decision of whether this trip is a good fit for your student or not. So we'll talk about the purpose of the trip. Why should you send your student on this trip? Also, the details, very important to know what is happening, the registration and cost, the terms and condition, and then at the end, we'll have a question and answer session. For those of you that are joining us via Zoom and just joined us, please know that you are welcome to put any questions in the chat that you have throughout the presentation, and we'll get to them at the end. So why attend? So Great Hearts College Counseling, we have a team of 7 counselors throughout the network, both in the North Texas area at Irving and then down in the San Antonio area. Everything that we do has intention. We kind of line with the Great Hearts mission on what we do, and this trip is just the same. So we have intentions of the colleges that we've chosen to visit, the activities that we will have for your students to do with throughout this trip. It is very an educational trip, a trip that is meant for exploration purposes. We'll have preparation and reflection activities. So when right before we get to a college, we will be talking about what that college is, what they have to offer, preparing your students to get the most out of that campus visit. And then after, we'll be doing reflection activities on the bus so that they can journal what they liked and what they didn't like. This is really going to help Miss Masters as she works with your students throughout. I always say, I've been doing this for a long time, knowing what a student doesn't like really helps us find good matches of what would be something that would be a good fit for them. And each campus will be greeted with a lot of our alumni. We have alumni at each campus that we choose that will be meeting, whether they will be giving a tour to our students or they will be meeting with them like a discussion panel of their experience on that campus, why they chose the campus, and how it is from the Great Hearts lens for them. The other thing that we will be doing as part of this is that Great Hearts has a college fair and symposium, and that we will be hosting at Great Hearts Irving on Saturday. Again, we'll be preparing all of your students for this fair. There'll be about 75 colleges from across the nation that your students will be able to talk with college reps. Again, this will be something that we will prepare them for. What questions should they ask? Because every student is going to have a different question that's going to be important to them. That will be about this preparation for the trip. Our team, along with Miss Masters, will be preparing your student even before we go on, what to expect, and how to get the most out of it. And then we'll have college-focused activities throughout on the bus, some fun things that we'll be doing that will help students in this preparation that will come, talking about, GPA, how colleges look at it, things that students should be involved in. So there's going to be a lot of wonderful opportunities for your students to learn throughout the trip. We are partnering with IST Campus Tours. They are a fantastic company. They've been around since 1975. This is a company that we've had experience with. Last year, we took our Great Hearts Irving students down to San Antonio area and had a wonderful time. I have vetted this company. I have colleagues across the nation who have used IST, who are college counselors at their schools. So it is a company that we appreciate, that aligns with our mission, is concerned about safety, concerned about how our students have a wonderful time on the trip, as well as easy to work with. We've had just great experience, and that's why we have chosen. They are bonded, they have insurance, and they are just a delight to work with. So really great experience with them. And that's where we have ended up with a partnership with IST Tours. They have wonderful buses. We've never had a problem, even in our Arizona campuses, our Great Hearts Arizona campuses. They are state of the art. They're newer. You don't show up and think, oh my gosh, are we going to make it? There's a lot of comfort on those buses. I have been on all the trips with them. They're well equipped with all the modern amenities for our students. It does have restrooms on the bus. We rarely get students that want to, only in case of emergency, but we will have restroom stops throughout the entire trip. So we're always reminding students, even while we're on college campuses, here's an opportunity to go to the bathroom and you should always just use that. IST Tours does partner with a lot of well-known hotels. Once we have the numbers in place with the San Antonio campuses, the planning starts beginning. So you'll know what hotel will be at and where your student will be staying. I love ISD Tours. They partner with these hotels that are in very safe neighborhoods. They're very intentional. We are not driving way out of the way for a deal. It is somewhere that is in a proximity to where we need to be. So we have really appreciated the partnership that they have, that they pass that on to our students and to our tours. So this is a selection of what possibly could be the type of hotel that we will be staying at on our trip. So all of the food is included on the trip, except for breakfast on the first day. If your student has any allergies or any food sensitivities, the second part of this trip, they'll be filling out forms as well as you'll be helping them, and we will accommodate all of those food sensitivity and allergies if your student does have. Saturday breakfast will be at the hotel that we stay at. All lunches and dinners which last year was a favorite of our students, where we ate at the cafeterias on the campus. And most of those are all you can eat. And it is quite an exciting time for a lot of our students. And for me as a college counselor to have them have an experience of what it's like, whether it's a food court or a cafeteria style cafeteria that our students can go and choose what they want. There is one exception to that. For our Friday night, we will be eating dinner at Great Hearts Irving. Great Hearts Irving will be pulling out the red carpet for all of the Great Hearts San Antonio students. We will have an event with games, outdoor picnic. We will have it catered. It will be an exciting time for all of they're in the planning. They want to do some volleyball, foursquare tournaments. So a lot of fun that will be happening that night once we get into the Dallas area. So all meals do include gratuity. So just so that you are aware of that. So this is a planned itinerary and it is not set yet. Again, it will depend on what our numbers are. So it will be, I know we will be going to University of Texas, Austin for sure, Baylor, UD. We may end up putting in another college on the trip. So our departure and our arrival time will stay the same. We might shift a few things. This will all be based on our numbers. So we'll depart for Austin at 7 a.m. and there'll be a meeting spot in which all the buses there'll be 2 buses right now. We may have 3 depending on interest. And then we will head out. And so this is we'll hit 2 college campuses on that first day for sure. And then we'll have that wonderful event at Great Hearts Irving, and we'll depart for the hotel at 7:30, being to the hotel by probably earlier than 8. Everything's a little longer when you bus travel. The second day we'll be having breakfast at the hotel and then going back to Great Hearts Irving, in which that is where the college fair will be taking place. And so students will have the opportunity to attend workshops and meet with college reps during that time. We'll then go to University of Dallas, which is 10 minutes away from Great Hearts Irving, and we'll have a tour, lunch and a tour there. We will depart home at around 2:30. We'll have a meal stop at Buc-ee's, which was a demand from our last year students that said that that's what they wanted. They chose that, and that was something that was a highlight to them on the trip. A lot of other highlights, but that was one of them. I think the second highlight was meeting on the campuses. They just had a wonderful time, and then we'll arrive home. Students will be able to have their cell phones with them. However, there'll be rules around that. Once we have our numbers and we have a second meeting to discuss all of these things with families, you'll know that. So students will be able to text you when we're an hour out to know that we are on our way for pickup. The number of students, it's 359. We know that we will hit our target of 50 students. So the cost of the trip will be $359 since we are partnering with all the San Antonio campuses. That includes a one-night hotel stay. There are 4 students to a room. Once we have our numbers, we don't want any student to be uncomfortable. We work really well as a team and making sure that your student is comfortable with who they're rooming with. We will guarantee at least one student that they want to room with. We'll have a process in which they will let us know who they'd like to room with, and we will guarantee at least one. But again, we will work. One of our main thing, if a student is not comfortable, they're not going to get what they need out of this trip. So Ms. Masters, myself, and our team will work to make sure that they are taken care of. All meals are included in that, except that Friday morning breakfast. Students then would also, if they wanted to bring snacks for the bus, that would be the only other expense as far as food goes. Those guided tours, the college fair at Great Hearts Irving, school chaperones. We will be dividing the students into groups, again, depending on how many students we have. And then we will have about a 6 to 8 student per one chaperone, and those will be the ones that follow them throughout the whole trip. We will have private hotel security at the hotel. Lights out will be in their rooms at 9. Chaperones will make sure the right students are in their right rooms. And then the hotel security will be there until we leave the next morning, and they will be pacing the halls. They will know. We will have female students on hopefully one floor, male students on the other, and then chaperones intermixed in their own. Chaperones will be in separate rooms, but they will be close to the students. And then IST Tours gives us a nice small bag and an ID lanyard for the trip. So I'm going to turn, let's see, Ms. Masters, did you want me to cover this, or is this something you would like to talk about?
I can cover it.
Great. Okay.
All
Wonderful. Right. And I will take questions again. Anybody who's online, please put your questions, and then we'll have a Q&A at the end.
All right. So we're requiring $100 deposit. It's non-refundable if the school reaches its certain minimum. We know there are special circumstances that come up that may cause you to have to withdraw from the trip. And we are always willing to work with you if it was something unexpected, you had no control over it. This is specifically for those who just choose not to come after all. All other monies are refundable if you cancel before February 15th, 2023. At that point, we've already sent the money to the company, and so it would be difficult for us to get your money back. We have flexibility for groups and tour participants due to COVID, related cancels or postponements. So that's just part of the contract that we're signing when we agree to this trip with ISS. And so we would have the same guidelines for those who sign up. Can you go to the next slide? Thank you. So space is limited. Michelle alluded to the possibility of a third bus. So right now we have 3 schools in the Great Hearts San Antonio area that have 9th graders for the first time. And so those 3 schools are hoping to combine on one bus so that we have the 9th graders separated from the older kids. Excuse me. But if we have enough interest and we do need a third bus, there may be some combining of, say, 10th graders with 9th graders on that second bus. So it kind of just depends on how the numbers play out after people have committed to the trip. If you do choose to sign up, there is a registration form, and I have copies of them here tonight. I'll also be sending it out as a link by email. Both deposit and registration form need to be turned in to reserve your seat by Monday, October 31st. It does say November 4th on the registration form. So somewhere within that week is what we're looking at, just so we know how many parents are committed to sending their scholars. You can make your checks payable to Great Hearts Western Hills, and the final payment due date would be January 31st, 2023. That's because February 1st is when we have to send the money to the tour. Next. So student criteria, serious interest is in the purpose of the trip. We want to make sure that they're not just looking for a night away with their friends, but they really are interested in visiting and exploring these colleges. We would expect all their course grades to be at a C or above in order to participate. Of course, it goes without saying that they will uphold the standards of Great Hearts as ambassadors of Great Hearts Western Hills. So they are our ambassadors from this school that we love so much, and we would expect them to represent us well. And then agree to share their experience with those who could not attend. And if there are many scholars who won't be able to go that would have loved to been able to go. And this is not a one and done. It's not like this is your opportunity in 9th grade and you won't have any more opportunities. No, there'll be lots more opportunities. And we also will be trading back and forth between where we have the symposium, either north or south. Last year, it was here in San Antonio. I think we had close to 50 college reps. Next year, it'll be back in San Antonio. So it's not their only opportunity to do some exploration. And that's about it for student criteria. Once everybody's registered, given their deposit, we'll host a formal pre-departure meeting with all the participants 14 to 10 days before the trip to cover final tour itinerary. You get to meet the chaperones in person, so you know who's going to be with your children, and just to remind everyone of our behavior expectations. Notification will be sent home with the meeting date and time somewhere in that time frame.
Ms. Master, there's one thing that I wanted to say that, that meeting is that will be the final 14 days before. We'll have every single detail laid out for you. You'll have numbers, you'll know chaperones. Before then, there'll be communications. Once we have an itinerary that is set, we'll be sending for those that signed up. We'll be sending reminders of when final payment is due. We'll keep you posted as once we have the numbers, then everything starts rolling into place, and we'll keep you informed of that. So we want to make sure that you are well informed way before the 2 weeks before the trip. So
absolutely. So did you want to take a question from your Zoom room first, or?
We can see, I don't see any in the Zoom room yet. So if there's anybody on Zoom that would like to ask a question, can parents be a chaperone? Great question. So this is going to come down to our numbers and how many. We are not opposed to it. It will be dependent on numbers. If you are interested, I would email Mrs. Masters and we'll put you on a list and then send that out if we are looking for parent chaperones. Currently, right now, our entire team will be headed on the buses with the San Antonio team going up. And so we'll see where numbers come in, but we are open to having parents on the trip if it allows us to. Parents would not have to pay if they are a chaperone. They would just have to go through kind of a training of what we will be doing. So can parents join at the campuses? If you could give me a little bit more, if you're not a chaperone and you want to come to the campuses, the future, okay. Oh, we will always take future colleges on the list, but I'm going to go back to the can parents join on campuses. It'll be hard for us to give you an estimated time to meet up. Also, the campuses have a certain amount of numbers that for lunches and different things. And so joining us on the campuses, if you were going to drive, may be a little difficult to do. We will have, as we continue to grow the trips, Miss Masters will be sending out where to go. So when there's more interest on other colleges, we will definitely look at those options to get on other campuses besides the ones that are on the trip. We try to really base it on small, medium, and large campuses. That's really going to get a student a feel of different cultures that are on different places and what resonates with them most.
Any questions from the room? No? Okay. Have no
Well,
questions.
either we did a really good job, or again, you may leave and have questions. We are always here throughout to answer any questions that you have, and anything that we can help. If there's something that, oh, this is a great question. We have another one. I love our online. How about fundraising events? Has Western Hills thought of any fundraising events or talked about having fundraising events for this?
That is not a discussion that we have, but I don't believe we're opposed to it. Ms. Keffer said we certainly can.
Yes. I think as a team, there other campuses are looking at that too. So we'll share ideas and especially to those, once we have the numbers and who signs up, we'll share all of that information with those participants of being able to raise money for the payment of their trip.
I have a question. Do students have to wear their uniform on the trip?
What about student uniforms?
Yes, so dress code will be explained at future meetings, but really business, we want students to represent the school. So all of the casual events going on campus trips, they will have to abide by school rules. The only thing that they will have to wear their uniform for is the college fair and symposium at Irving that morning. All students, even our Irving students, will be required to do that. All of this will be laid out on as we have future meetings, what is expected, but modest clothing, not ripped jeans, different things. We are open to, they'll be on the bus, they'll be comfortable shoes, gym shoes are allowed. We want them to be comfortable throughout. If you've ever been on some college campuses, it can be quite the trek along and around and then back on, and the trip is really designed. We are on the move constantly, so it can be exhausting. So we want them to be comfortable. When are the students expected to be in their rooms at the hotel? We will arrive back at 8 o'clock. 9 o'clock will be in their rooms. And that's when a final check will be making sure. When you have, 150 students or 150 students, people going to one hotel, a lot of that is we're on the bus distributing. They won't be allowed off the bus until they have their room key. Then they'll go in. But that takes us about half hour last year. It might be a little longer because we have more students this year. And then they're expected, and then their chaperone will do a final room check, and they're expected to stay in their rooms at night. They'll also, once we have our meeting, be given directions and stuff if they need to get a hold of anyone, if they don't feel well during the night. That will all be kind of distributed, and all of those little details to our students that right before the trip, that 2 weeks before. Another question came in: are the payment methods just limited to check? So
the answer is no. I will be getting a Configio link that would go directly to funding or anything you pay into the fund for the trip, and kept separate. So if that is something you would like, be sure and email me. I will also be sending for you online participants. I'll be sending you the registration form by email.
And I think that's all of our questions from online. So if you have anything else, please feel free to send an email our way. Happy to answer any questions. Yes, we are open to other, I think we just got another question, other colleges, even, next year. And at some point, which will be next year, we will have college reps coming to your campus. And so students will be able during their free period to sign up to meet with. So I see A&M Kingsville on here. When Miss Masters knows that there's an interest in a college, she will have that rep come. That's a first sort of touch point with that college for students to learn more. They'll come to you, and then also getting on campuses, we are always open to suggestions and where students want and families want us to arrange, for our next college trip next year. So.
All right, well, if
Thank you.
there are no more questions, then we're gonna wrap this up so you can go enjoy your evening. Thank you so much for attending.
Thank you. Yeah. And for those that there was a question that came in, we will be sending the presentation and the registration form via email. You'll receive a email from Miss Masters. So thank you so much. It's a delight. We are so thrilled. We're thrilled to have Miss Masters on our college counseling team, and thrilled to have the support of your administration, and appreciate them for allowing this trip to happen for our 9th graders. I've been doing this a long time, and there's nothing that is so great than getting on college campuses and really experiencing what it is like to be on all of these. So thank you so much. I appreciate your attendance tonight.
Thank you for coming. So I will also send you the PowerPoint as well, so you can go over it.
Miss Masters, if you could just stop the recording, that would be great.
Absolutely.
No worries. Before you,
That's
thank you
okay.
to all of your